welcome to Just for Clicks. I am Michael Buckheiser, the king of the sound effects, the king of the trolls, the king of all kings. On today's show, we're going to go over some more NBA picks. We got the ACC Big Ten Challenge going on tonight as well. We'll pick a couple of those games. We'll break down the BCS rankings, all that and much more right after the intro, y'all. Just for clicks. All right, guys, and welcome to today's show here. We're going to kind of briefly touch on the ACC Big Ten Challenge, a little bit of NBA games as well, and discuss what's going on with the college football rankings. I said BCS, they're kind of stuck in my mind, but I don't know. I grew up in that era of the BCS, and I still want to call it the BCS, but it's the college football playoff rankings and whatnot. So, but before we get too far into that, I want to give you guys my sports picks of the day. But I want to go over yesterday's picks first, real quick here. I picked 5 NBA games last night. I did go 4-1, making me 13-4 on the season as far as picking NBA games here. Just to briefly go over the scores and whatnot here. The Knicks did lose to the Pistons last night, which I called, but they did cover the point spread. So I did pick the Pistons to win outright, but then I picked the Knicks to cover the point spread. So that's a win-win in my book there. Moving on to the Hawks and the Heat. The Hawks had a 19-point lead, I believe, at one point in this game. As you guys know, I did pick the Heat to win. I pretty much turned the game off at that point. I turned it, and then I turned on SportsCenter this morning. Saw the Heat only lost by 2 by missing a game-winning shot. But that is my only loss of the night. That the Hawks did beat the Heat on that push game. Next up, I had the Raptors beating the Grizzlies here. They won by 8 and they covered the 5-point spread like I said they would. Then you had the Nuggets versus the Lakers. The Nuggets destroyed the Lakers, beating them by 32 points, I believe it was. LeBron James did not make a shot in the second half of that game. That's the first time that has happened in 4 or 5 years. So that's a double win there too. The Nuggets won outright and they covered the point spread. Last game of the night was the Pacers and the Suns. Pacers won by 5 in that push matchup. So like I said, I went 4-1 last night. Really impressed. I definitely want to pat myself on the back on that one. Like I said, that does push me to 13-4 on the season here. So with all that being said, it's time to pick some games for today's on this Wednesday night here. Wednesday is kind of historically a busy night in the NBA, and they have a lot of games happening tonight here. So I'm just going to pick a couple here, and we'll go from here. The first game that I see here, I have the Atlanta Hawks versus the Hornets. Hawks are 15-16 on the season, and the Hawks are an even 10-10. Hawks did play very well last night, even though they were up by 19 points at a given time, and they about pissed that away to the Heat. But I like what Charlotte is doing there. Walker he is being a man, carrying that team on his shoulders. Kid Gilchrist is he's having a pretty good season as well. I believe he's averaging 7 or 8 rebounds a game, and a team that goes back-to-back nights on the road, like Atlanta's doing, you never want to pick that. So give me Charlotte Hornets. It is a 12-point spread. Do I think they're going to win by 12? No. So I have the Hornets winning outright, but the Hawks covering the spread. Ooh, next up here you have the New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. This goes back to what I just said just a few seconds ago. A team back-to-back nights on the road. You're gonna have to give me Philly on this one. Knicks they just aren't good. They're 7-15 on the season, while Philadelphia is 14-6. Like I said, Hardaway Jr. is their leading scorer at 23 points a game. But you have to look what 76ers have. They have Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, recently just got Jimmy Butler in there, and it's all coming together. They are starting to look like a East contending team again. Give me the Philadelphia 76ers 12 and a half point favorite. They won't win by that much. They'll probably win by 10 or 11. So give me Philadelphia to win, but the Knicks to cover the spread on that one. Next up, we're going to do the Dallas Mavericks versus the Houston Rockets. Mavericks are at 9-9 on the season, and the Rockets are a measly 9-10. This is definitely not the Houston team that we saw last year. James Harden is the leading scorer for the Rockets so far this season at 32 points a game, while DeAndre Jordan is the leading rebounder here for the Dallas Mavericks at 14 rebounds a game. That's pretty crazy to me. This game is a push. It is at Houston. Houston, I don't know. They just been so up and down. But this is what's favoring in the Houstons right now. You have Dirk that is out. Dwight Powell's out. Luka Doncic is day to day. So probably give me the Houston Rockets on this one. Probably by 10 to 12 points. I think it's going to be pretty much a blowout all game. And we'll go do the final pick'em of today here. Got so many games to pick some. So we're going to do the Bulls versus the Bucks. Bulls are 5-16 on the season. Bucks are 14-6 on the season. A crazy 10-2 at home, while the Bulls are 2-7 on the road. Before I picked this game, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than this, but the Greek Freak is just a beast right now, averaging 27 points a game along with 14 rebounds. So he's averaging a double-double currently on the season. So give me the Bucks on this one. It is a 14-point spread. I expect them to cover the spread as well. This goes against everything that I've been taught as far as betting wise goes. That is usually a enticing pick there to pick the spread in the Bulls. But give me the Bucks on this one with the point spread. I think they're going to have a great night, and we're going to go ahead and Bucks. Greek Freak's going to have a great night. I'm thinking he's going to have like 37 points tonight. Let's go ahead and move over to the amateur hardwood. Just for clicks. All right, so we are back on the amateur hardwood here now. So college basketball. If you guys missed that Duke-Indiana game last night, you didn't miss a lot. Duke absolutely blew out Indiana. I had Indiana at least hanging with Duke. I did not have them beating them, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was. So I did get a win by picking that game. And then I had Louisville beating Michigan State as well. That turned out to be a great game as well. Louisville pulled them out by 2. So those are the 2 picks that I made last night as far as college basketball goes. But as you guys know, here we do have the ACC Big Ten Challenge happening this week, and it's just some of these games are pretty intriguing. First game we're going to pick here is number 4 Virginia at number 24 Maryland. As you guys know, Virginia is very well known for their defense. Like we kind of had a running joke in another show that I am a part of, the RTF Sports Talk, that I believe it was the Virginia and Virginia Tech game, maybe, and the Oklahoma West Virginia game. Who would score more points as far as Virginia basketball team and the Oklahoma football team? So like, what game would score more points than that? And we all kind of jokingly said it would be Oklahoma West Virginia football game, and it turned out to be that way. Uh, so just looking at this matchup here, everything points to for me to pick Virginia. Virginia is 6-0 on the season. They've been there, done that type of thing, but they have not played a true road game yet this season. While Maryland is 5-0 at home, and they're ranked number 24. So I'm going to get the do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Yeah, we're going to do it. Maryland over Virginia. Virginia is a 3.5-point favorite. I think Maryland, they win outright, so therefore they cover. So give me Maryland on this one. All right, guys, definitely pushed the wrong side of sound effects. That's my fault. So if you guys missed it, I had Maryland upsetting Virginia on that particular ACC Big Ten Challenge game here. Looking for some more games here as far as the ACC Big Ten Challenge. There we go. We have number 19 Purdue traveling to number 15 Florida State. This is a 9:15 tip-off. I'm not for sure how much of this game I will be catching because I'll be watching my Kentucky Wildcats play. I like what Purdue had last year. I like those two big white guys that they had. I'm not for sure if they still have those two guys. I think one was a senior, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't got a chance to watch Purdue at all this season, but they are averaging 86 points a game, while Florida State's averaging 79 points per game. Both shooting underneath 50% on the season, so they obviously seem to take quite many shots there. Florida State's 2-0 at home on the season. Purdue hasn't played a road game yet. They're 5-1. They're both 5-1 here. I like Purdue. I like what they have. I like what they're building there in wherever they're from, somewhere in northern Indiana. The name's slipping my mind right now. But give me Purdue. Ooh, alrighty here. So moving on to possibly the game of the night. You have number 11 North Carolina at number 7 Michigan. I'm going to go on record here, and I'm going to say that I don't think North Carolina is as advertised. I think they're highly overranked. I think they're highly overhyped. I don't like what they are doing right now. Now, as far as Michigan goes, I picked Michigan to lose to Villanova 10 days ago, a week ago, or so, and they absolutely blew Villanova out of the water. At the time, Villanova was number 2 or number 3. Since then, Villanova's kind of gone on a skid. So was Villanova as advertised? I don't know. But North Carolina, looking at their last 5, they are 4-1, beating a Stanford team, losing to Texas, and beating a UCLA team. And Michigan, their only notable win really is at Villanova on the season. Tar Heels are 6-1, while Michigan is 6-0. Everybody's picking North Carolina. They think they're a Final Four team. I think they are a Sweet 16 team, maybe second round, but I don't see them having what it takes to beat Michigan. I like what I saw against Michigan when they played at Villanova. I like what they're offering. I'm riding this Michigan bandwagon till they prove me otherwise. They're just going to have to go on some type of skid, but I'm picking Michigan almost every game from here on out. just to recap here, I have Michigan over North Carolina. I have Maryland over who are they playing? Virginia, and then I have Purdue over Florida State. So those are my 3 picks on this Wednesday hoop night of the ACC Big 12 Championship, or ACC Big 12 battle, whatever you want to call it. All right, guys, so moving on to the college football playoff rankings here. As most of you know, the rankings came out last night, and as expected, the top 3 did not change. You have Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame. And then it kind of gets boggled at the 4 through even 10 range there. At number 4, you have Georgia. Number 5, you have Oklahoma. Number 6, you have Oklahoma State. Number 7, you have Michigan. Number 8, you have that Central Florida team. Number 9, you have Florida. And 10, you have LSU. 11, Washington. 12, Penn State. 13, Washington State. 14, Texas. So, as you guys know, I had Oklahoma up in that 4th seed. Strictly just because I think Oklahoma is a team that can beat Alabama if everything goes in their favor. If both defenses are struggling, I think Oklahoma's offense is highly superior than the Alabama offense. With that being said here, I'm going to have to go back what with my man Matthew Lyle said back in September, October timeframe when the college football rankings first came out. He said from the very beginning, the committee wants 2 SEC teams in there. They want another Georgia-Alabama championship game. That is what they want. That is what they want to see. They think SEC is a superior football conference. Whatever. Okay. So this week this is a championship week. I'll be picking my college football picks on tomorrow's show. But you have the SEC championship. You have Alabama versus Georgia. Big Ten, you have Ohio State versus Northwestern. Big 12 championship, you have Texas versus Oklahoma. And then you have I'm not for sure what division they're in. I think it's the AAC. It is UCF versus Memphis in that conference championship game. With that being said, the committee is giving Georgia an out type of thing. Okay? Just hear me out here. So we all are probably picking Alabama to beat Georgia. Okay? Is it whether it's close or a blowout, we have Alabama winning that game. So let's think, in theory, Oklahoma loses to Texas again. Very good possibility. Texas is sitting at the number 14 seed in the college football playoff rankings at the current time. The only loss Oklahoma suffered this year was to Texas. Okay, so and then let's say Ohio State beats Northwestern, but it's a close game. You know, they only win by 10 to 12 points. This gives the committee an opportunity to leave Georgia in the top 4, and they get exactly what they wanted. They get 2 SEC teams in there, like they wanted all along. Okay, so now let's play this scenario out. Georgia beats Alabama. Okay, Oklahoma beats Texas badly. Ohio State beats Northwestern badly. Does Oklahoma or Ohio State jump into the 4 seed? Can they really knock out a Notre Dame team? No, they can't. Georgia will definitely move up to a 2 or a 3 seed. I think they'll probably move up to a 3 seed, move Clemson to 1 and Alabama at number 2, so they can get that Alabama Georgia championship matchup that they all want. No, Notre Dame drops to 4. Oklahoma, Ohio State are all on the outside looking out. So let's do another scenario here. Georgia gets beat badly by Alabama. Oklahoma loses to Texas. Ohio State loses to Northwestern. Okay? So you have 4, 5, and 6 all losing in their conference championship. You have Michigan at number 7. You have USC at number 8. Florida at number 9. Do you see any of those teams getting in? No, I don't. I think the rankings, Georgia will remain number 4. Simply because they got beat by the nation's best team, and they think they're better than Michigan and UCF. Now, Oklahoma and Ohio State get bumped way down. Michigan probably gets bumped up to number 5. UCF probably a number 6. Maybe. It depends on how they look against Memphis with their backup quarterback. So, then I'm asking, how can you legitimately leave a undefeated Central Florida team out of the college football playoff and leave in a 2-loss Georgia team? A Georgia team that lost to a number 10 LSU, and then obviously a number 1 Alabama. I don't know, but UCF is going to be the outside. So I think the only teams that really legitimately have a shot of jumping Georgia in the polls is Oklahoma at the end of the day. Oklahoma has to beat Texas badly. I'm talking like 30 points. Georgia has to lose to Alabama badly for those two rankings to switch. If neither of those two things happen, Georgia plays Alabama close, Oklahoma plays Texas close. They win, but it's a close game. Rankings don't change. So then we have this scenario of we get to see Alabama and Georgia 2 weeks in a row. Do we want to see that? Hell no. Does the committee want to see that? Hell no. But is it going to happen? More than likely. The only way that is not going to happen, Georgia has to be Alabama. They want a SEC championship game. They want Georgia, Alabama. It's been noted. You can see it. Look, LSU is still number 10 in the college football rankings. They are 9-3. Okay, yeah, they dropped three spots, yeah, but you have a 10-2 Washington State team that's behind them. There's a slew of 3-loss teams. You have a Boise State that's 10-2, sitting at number 22 even. Like, I'm just saying, like, why does the SEC get so much love? For the longest time, it's been Alabama and the rest. Think about it. Before 3 years ago, who could you legitimately name as the SEC championship contender besides Alabama? Recently, Georgia, yes. Georgia has been in the SEC championship twice now. They beat LSU last year. This year they're playing Alabama. LSU had a freak season and, they beat Alabama. But think about it. The SEC is so overrated that, look, they have, if you look at the top 15 rankings here, there's 1 Alabama, then you have 2 Georgia, then you have 3 Florida, 4 LSU, 5 Kentucky, all in the top 15, okay? Kentucky got destroyed by Georgia, destroyed by Tennessee. they're really the only notable win Kentucky has on the season is Florida. Think about this. Well, now, I guess you can say Missouri, since they snuck into the top 25. They're at the 8-4 record. They kind of came on as of late. But this SEC bias in the college football playoff has to stop. This is ridiculous. Like, why is Georgia ranked over Oklahoma? When I think of rankings, I am looking at who can beat who. Okay? So they are saying that Alabama can beat everybody in the rankings. Clemson can beat everybody but Alabama. Notre Dame can beat everybody but Clemson and Alabama. You get where I'm going, like I like with this. So when you look at Georgia, do you guys think Georgia can beat everybody but Notre Dame, Clemson, and Alabama? No. I think Ohio State's better than Georgia. I think Michigan is better than Georgia. Then you look at Oklahoma sitting at no, I'm on number 5. Can they beat anybody in front of them currently? Yes. I think they can beat Notre Dame and Georgia right now. Move Oklahoma up into the 3 spot. Notre Dame doesn't deserve to be in the top 5. Top 10 maybe, but look at their record. Okay, so they did beat a Michigan team, but at the time Michigan wasn't that high. They beat a number 7 Stanford team at the time. Stanford has since fallen off. At the time, they beat a number 24 Virginia Tech team. They've since fallen off. Their only notable win since then is number 12 Syracuse. They played a horrible USC team, a pretty bad Florida State team. I guess they did beat a Pac-10 West Division champion Northwestern there. They beat Navy, Pittsburgh. See, like Wake Forest, Ball State, like Vanderbilt. Like, come on, like. I mean, like, I guess kind of looking at the record now, like, I guess maybe they deserve a top 5, but they're definitely not the number 3 ranked team in the nation. I just looking at these top 7 teams here: Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia. Who can beat Notre Dame? I think Ohio State can. I think if Michigan were to play Notre Dame again, they would win that game. Oklahoma can beat Notre Dame. Georgia can beat Notre Dame. So by process of elimination, that should knock Notre Dame down to the 8 seed. Now looking at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they can beat Georgia. They can beat Notre Dame. Can they beat Clemson? I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Clemson this year, but so just by process of elimination here, move Oklahoma up to 3. Put Ohio State at number 4. Knock Georgia down to, probably 6 or 7, and Notre Dame right ahead of them. Throw out the records. Look at who they played. Alabama's clearly the best team. They're beating teams by 30 to 40 points almost every game. Clemson, the second best team. Just by the highlights that I've seen from them, they're a pretty solid team. I did watch them play against a horrible Louisville team. That's not saying much, but they look like a pretty solid team. And then I want to look at number 3 here. I got to go with Notre Dame, simply because of their record, I guess. But I want to throw them out. I want to move Oklahoma up into the number 3 rank. So Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma. Then look at number 4. Give me UCF in there. I think they deserved a chance to play with the big boys now. They are 23-0 in their last 23 games. They're 11-0 on this season. Yes, they lost their quarterback, but I still think they can hang with the big boys. You guys need to see what Central Florida is doing. They're doing great things down there. Yeah, they are on the outside looking in, probably all this year. But next year, if they're 11-0 next year, and they are what be 24. They would be what 35-0 at this time last year, or this time next year they'd be 35-0, and they're still not in the top four. Something's wrong. Something is wrong with the college football playoff if that happens. If UCF is 35-0 and they're still not in the top four this time next year, it's time to spread it to 8. Yeah, I think 8 is that magic mark here, because if you look at the top 8, Florida doesn't deserve a chance to really be in there. LSU, no. Washington, no. Penn State, no. So if we were to expand it to 8 games or 8 teams this year, you'd have Alabama facing a Central Florida team. You have Clemson versus Michigan. You have Notre Dame versus Ohio State, and you have Georgia versus Oklahoma. Who does not want to see that? All this mix up with the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds, that all gets dissolved if you just expand it to 8 teams. It's 2 more games. I'm hearing you all say right now. Yeah. College, they already played too many games. It's hard on their bodies, yada yada yada. Cut out a week or 2 in the regular season. Look what the SEC did last week. They played a bunch of non-conference nobodies, aka a bye week. They cut that out, and then they cut their first week out and strictly just stick to conference games. There you go. Then you have 2 extra games at the end of the season. Wham bam, thank you ma'am, everything's fixed. We're not watching Alabama play critical and beat them 88-0. We're not watching Clemson play Middle Tennessee State or whoever they played. Or I'm just throwing out team names. You aren't watching these top tier Division I teams play a junior high school team. You're watching all these conference games. Cut the conference games back down to 9 games, maybe 10. Expand the college football to 8 teams, and you have a lot better playoff picture. You have an actual national championship then, because the past college football playoff has been around for 5 years now. I want to say 4 or 5 years, and the teams have always fallen off at that number 8 spot. Same thing this year. You look at number 8, Central Florida. Next up is Florida. You go from a bunch of 1-loss teams to 3 to 4 lost teams. So going back to the original thought here, kind of got off track here on a little tangent. Does Georgia deserve to be in the top 4 right now? I guess so. If they lose to Alabama, Oklahoma loses to Texas, Ohio State loses to Northwestern, do they still get a shot being in the top 4? Probably. Do they do it? Do they? In my opinion, do they actually deserve that right? No. I think a undefeated Central Florida team is better than a 2-loss Georgia team, better than a 2-loss Oklahoma team, better than a 2-loss Ohio State team, better than a 2-loss Michigan State team. Why not have the 4 undefeated teams in the college football playoff? I'm trying to make a case for you, Central Florida. Go out there, beat Memphis, beat the brakes off of them. I'm talking 45 points. You guys are going to have to put up 50 on them, hold them to underneath 17. And just look spectacular doing that. Georgia needs to lose to Alabama, probably by 15 to 20 points. I think a Oklahoma loss and a Ohio State loss, period, just knocks them out. But then you got to ask yourself, does Central Florida jump Michigan? I don't know. It doesn't matter because they're going to have Georgia, Oklahoma, or Ohio State in the playoff no matter what. Even if they all three lose, somebody's getting in. If you have one winner out of those three, that winner will get that 4th seed. If you have 2 winners, it's Oklahoma, Ohio State. I think it's going to be Oklahoma in there. If they all three win, Georgia's obviously in there. They even might jump up to a 2nd seed, drop Alabama to a 3 seed. You drop Notre Dame down to 4. So basically, the fate right now is in Oklahoma and Ohio State's hands. If you guys just win, you're probably in. Georgia's not going to beat Alabama. So just win and you're in. But all 3 lose, Central Florida better get a fucking shot.